Hey, this is Alex Yoder with Dorman Real Estate Management and Pro Tip Tuesday. We were going to talk with Integrity Air Quality, Frank Rudy, this week, but we pushed it to next week due to scheduling challenges. So I'm going to cover a different topic today. I just got out of the dentist, so you're going to have to forgive me. I'm a little bit out of it, but I think we can probably get through this. I want to touch really on three things to know, and frankly, there are more than three things to know, but three things to know when you are buying a fourplex. Things that I would like to point out to you when you are in the process of maybe investing in a small multifamily property like that. Now, this may apply to triplexes and duplexes as well, but for the most part, I'm talking about fourplexes. Number one, when you're evaluating the rental rates, what I often see, and I don't mean to speak ill at all of my peers in the sales world, but oftentimes investors will lean on people who do sales as their specialty as opposed to rentals as their specialty to determine the rental rate for the property. And that's really not advised generally. You want to be speaking with a professional property management expert, in my opinion, to evaluate what a unit could rent for. That way you're not dealing with sort of conflicts of interest. I mean, candidly, the sales agent wants to sell you the building, and you want somebody who is unattached to the transaction to give you objective perspective on rental rates. I mean, you're going to do that. You should do that no matter what kind of property you're buying, if you're buying an investment property, but fourplexes for sure, as you're looking to reposition those. In many cases, certainly now, as fourplexes have a higher price point, it's even more important that you're looking at what the rental rates are now at the building and what they could be, so you can determine that return on investment based on the capital that you're putting forth to pick up this investment property to begin with. Many years ago, you could pick up fourplexes for quite a bit less than you can today. So it's even that much more important that you really crunch all those numbers and look at all of that. So lean on property management experts to help you determine the rental rate. And I recommend you hire them to manage it once you bought the building as well, but that's your call. So that's number one. Number two, when you're buying a fourplex, you can pretty much assume that you're going to have a year, maybe even 2 years, to kind of reposition the property fully and get, better tenants into the property. In my experience, and this is not always the case, so I don't like to broad brush everything here, but in my experience, most companies and landlords who approve tenants on more affordable multifamily buildings are much more loose in the screening criteria that they have when they're placing tenants. Sometimes so loose that you have tenants with substantial eviction history and other major red flags that you now get to sort of inherit through the purchase, and you now get to deal with. And so oftentimes when we pick up a multifamily property and Dorman is hired to manage it, we see that there's more evictions early on in the process, more damage early on in the process, tenants who aren't paying rent early on in the process. So just know this is not always the case, but often, especially if it's a deal, which could be more profitable down the road once you repositioned it, you may have some challenges out the gate, and it may not be quite as fun as you had hoped for the first year or so, as we are kind of getting rid of the bad tenants and putting in, ideally, good tenants. So that's very important to know. Oftentimes when people are looking at fourplexes, the numbers look fantastic, and so you can kind of get starry-eyed as you're looking through that, although probably not quite as fantastic as it used to look due to the strength of the Colorado Springs market in the multifamily world, but just be considering those things, okay? So you're evaluating the rental rate. Now you are preparing yourself emotionally for the challenge that a fourplex can be as you are working to reposition the property. The third thing is, in this market, and I honestly can't speak to other markets, but what I know is that in Colorado Springs, for some reason, whenever there's a building utility service that is not separately metered, you often see that homeowners are just eating those costs. So water, sewer is a great example. Water and sewer is rarely separately metered. Gas and electric normally are separately metered. That means the tenants can put the gas and electric in their own name, and you usually see that as the case. Whereas the water and sewer services remain in the building owner's name, and I so often see that just being paid by the building owner. Trash services are the same thing. Often that's provided by the building owner. I don't know why that trend became a thing, or why it continued. But that for you is an opportunity, because where they previously were losing several $100s a month in those utility services, once those leases turn over and or you place new tenants, you can reposition the way that those leases are structured so that tenants are reimbursing you for their portion of that bill in arrears, or you can do it through just a flat utility service fee that you charge on a monthly basis, which may include other costs such as common area maintenance or whatever. Now, as a side note to that, when you're looking at like laundry facilities, often fourplexes have a laundry common area laundry facility or coin laundry. There's different ways you can go with that stuff. I'm a pretty big fan of having like a once a month handyman just pick up the coins, clean the common area, maintain it, and then just cut you a check for the coins. I'm a huge fan of that. There's other programs that you can do where the company provides the washer and dryer and kind of gets the coins but also maintains them for free. So there's other programs you can look at, but I think it's worth it to pick up a coin laundry system and just have your handyman maintain the common area at the same time that they're doing the coin pickup for you. It keeps more eyes on the property on a regular basis as well. Now that I'm thinking about it as we're going through this, I want to add a fourth thing. Look, when you have a fourplex, unless it's like a townhome style fourplex where it's just one property next to the other, if you have a fourplex that's more of a standard style, which is sort of top and bottom fourplexes, with a standard style fourplex, you normally will have contracts for exterior maintenance. So that may include landscaping service or snow removal. So keep that in mind. If you're not seeing that on the P&L from the previous homeowner, maybe they're doing it themselves or maybe they weren't doing it at all, that is going to be an expense that you're going to face, that you want to consider as you're looking at the return on investment and how much it's going to take to keep and maintain that property. So just a little additional tip that I hadn't originally thought of. Anyway, a lot of things to know about fourplexes. I could go on and on, but those are really the top four things to consider and to be looking at when you are considering the purchase of a fourplex or a small multifamily building. As always, if you have any other questions beyond that or need some expert advice, I'm just a phone call away, 719-213-9100. Alex Yoder, Dorman Real Estate Management Pro Tip Tuesday. That is all for now. We'll see you next week. Bye.